All right, Mr. TALIAFERRO'S TV, how's everybody doing out there? A very important trade in the NBA happened a few hours ago. Very important trade, in my opinion, because it does impact the championship picture. So, the Philadelphia 76ers, in my opinion, I know they added Jimmy Butler. I still believe it's going to take them some time to be cohesive, and I'm still not sold on Jimmy Butler being a team guy yet. He looks good thus far in Philadelphia. I will give him that. He came over a couple weeks ago in the Minnesota trade. Something tells me Toronto is still better than them, you know. And I just think Toronto will still win a 7-game series against Philly. Still believe they're just young. And sometimes Jimmy Butler acts like a young player mentally. So I'm still not 100% sold on them to be championship contending teams. But when you start to go out and add veteran pieces, especially that Philly team lost a lot of shooting, and you go add shooters. Now, you know what I mean? You adding guys that, you know, have been around and they've won. Now, you know, potentially they can add a couple guys to bolster their bench and their late game rosters that could really make some things shake and be factors. Kyle Korver is one of those guys. Markelle Fultz is one of those guys if he can figure his game out. Right now, he's seeking some second opinions, third opinions on his shoulder right now. I believe he's done for the season. That is my honest opinion. I believe he's done for the year. I don't believe he's coming back. I could be wrong about that. I just don't believe that. He believes something is wrong with his shoulder. He doesn't believe something is right with his game. I just think it's not being able to live up to the number one expectations. And I don't know if the guy's ready to be in the NBA right now. I just don't know if he's an NBA player. Some shows you signs from night in, night out, but there are a lot of guys I know that would take his spot and that's not in the league right now. I'll just say that. And I said it all due respect to Markelle Fultz, nice 6'4" combo guard, but I know dudes who want his spot, and they ain't gonna come in shooting the free throw, doing all this, and I don't know what he's doing. Actually, that looked too smooth to be Markelle Fultz free throw. The Utah Jazz just acquired Kyle Korver, right? That's a big deal. Utah's struggling right now. I expect them to turn it around sooner or later. The reason why that's a big deal is because for the last few days, there's been a trade on the table, or there's been talks. Philly has been listening to offers for Markelle Fultz. I'm not going to say they've been actively trying to trade Markelle Fultz, but teams have been inquiring about this young guard who's now out of the roster and pretty much found himself out of the rotation right now. Their mind is more focused on this nucleus, getting Jimmy Butler, and now they're like, yo, we got a chance to make it to the finals with these three guys. We don't got time to be playing this developmental game with Markelle Fultz right now. We need guys who can come in and play. So Markelle Fultz, I ain't going to say he's on the back burner, but he's no longer the focus. They would love to have them because if he's good, now you got a team that can have 3 all-stars and maybe 1 star, right? And Fultz. And that would be great. You're going to need that to compete with Golden State. And if you got a guy, Markelle Fultz, now you got some mismatches on the court in the finals against Philly, against Golden State, or maybe in the Eastern Conference finals against Boston. So we'll see what happens with Fultz. They've been listening to offers, and one team that acquired about Fultz is Cleveland, right? They know Philly wanted Kyle Korver. Philly has wanted Kyle Korver before they even got Jimmy Butler. They wanted him this summer. They were just unwilling to give up Markelle Fultz to get him. Also, they didn't want to give up Robert Covington. It panned out. They ended up getting Jimmy Butler for Robert Covington and Dardell Sadiq. But Philly, yeah, they wanted Kyle Korver. They wanted a veteran shooter for the longest. They ended up missing on him. And it's probably good for a lot of teams in the East because, you know, Markelle Fultz is not really doing anything. I don't think Philly's expecting contributions from him. Cleveland wanted Fultz. They're looking at it differently. They're like, okay, we could get the number 1 pick from a couple years ago. He's not going to play this season, right? Good. We don't want him to play. We're going to let him sit out, get his shoulder right. While he gets his shoulder right, we're going to lose games on purpose. Okay. We just expedited our process by a year. So essentially Cleveland could have take a year off on their tank process because they're going to tank for the next couple years. But if you go get a number 1 pick in Markelle Fultz, let him sit out and rest his shoulder for the rest of the year, that's a dream for Cleveland. We get a number 1 talent. We don't got to play him. He's going to have something to prove. We'll own his bird rights going forward. Let Colin Sexton get some work under his, you know, let him continue to ball out, learn how to be the point guard in the NBA. Then we go draft Zion with a number 1 pick. Now, next year, you got Zion, Fultz, and Colin Sexton. That's what Cleveland's trying to do. They're trying to rebuild and stockpile with top picks, as many as possible. They were almost able to sneak a number 1 pick, though. They were going to trade Kyle Korver and maybe a couple other their young guys, or maybe a Jordan Clarkson. These are guys that Philly could use, and they could bring in via trade. They go over the luxury tax, but they could bring these guys in through trade. You trade a guy like Jordan Clarkson, maybe he's winning you too many games right now, or you go get a Rodney Hood. Philly's looking for bodies and shooters right now, so they want this trade probably would have happened around February. I don't think Philly wants to pull the trigger on Fultz in December, but I believe this one could have happened in February. So a big deal happened today with Utah getting Kyle Korver. That's likely going to take Philly out of the running for Kyle. Obviously, I don't think Utah's going to trade him again this season. And obviously, you're looking around. I don't see too many deals that Philly's going to want for Markelle Fultz. Kyle Korver is the one that they were considering it. They want that shooter, that guy that's been in the finals the last couple years with LeBron. Kyle Korver is a professional. He's one of the best shooters of all time. You could have used him late games, and then you don't know what you're gonna get out of Fultz in it. That would have been a trade that could have helped everybody, in all aspects. I just believe Philly would have wanted to make that thing happen around the trade deadline. At that point, you see more where your team is at, where they're at in the standings, and if they're number 2 in the East, right behind Milwaukee or right behind Toronto, they might have been in full go mode. And if they thought they had a chance to get to the finals and win the championship this year, maybe Steph Curry's injured still, KD and Draymond unhappy, I think they might have would have pushed the trigger on Markelle Fultz and went all full throttle after the championship this year. Remember, Jimmy Butler is still technically a free agent this summer. We expect him to sign long-term in Philly. You never know with Bobby Brown, the Bobby Brown of the NBA. So we will see what happens. I'll keep you guys up to date. I doubt Philly trades Markelle Fultz, and congratulations to the Utah Jazz on acquiring Kyle Korver. By the way, that deal does include Alec Burks. He'll be going over to Cleveland, and a couple second-round picks. That's what Utah gave up for the services of NBA marksman Kyle Korver. I'll keep you guys up to date with more NBA news. Thank you so much for the time, love, and support. I don't take it for granted. Salute. Now, I came from nothing, but I want everything God has for me. I interview celebrities. I talk sports. I still represent the culture.
I got the kids. They are now tuned in.
Yo, we locked in right now, Mr.
TALIAFERRO'S. Mr. TALIAFERRO'S.
Mr. TALIAFERRO'S. Shout out to Mr. TALIAFERRO'S.
You're watching Mr. TALIAFERRO'S TV.
Mr. TALIAFERRO'S TV. Here with the triple B's, you can't do nothing but win.